What's up, everybody? It's HBT with the Straight Up Wrestling Show, man. I am here live, guys. Here to get it done, man. Here to do a show. Talk a little bit about Magnum TA. Talk about LA Knight, basically. Guys, I'm pretty much, a lot of this is going to be about LA Knight. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about Magnum TA. So, this is something I was thinking about a little bit earlier. My man, Christopher Burton, hey, he is watching this Philadelphia Eagles. And, hey, like we said, when Philadelphia Eagles is on, nothing can deteriorate Christopher Burton from watching his Philadelphia Eagles. But guys, I'm on for a little while, man, to talk about some things here. Talk about LA Knight. Talk about the popularity, the sudden popularity that this man has gotten, has generated in such a short time. And this right here is after the Bray Wyatt thing. And yes, he was in with a popular wrestler in Bray Wyatt. And, LA Knight, he had his own little popularity. But, hey, it has seemed to explode since Bray Wyatt, since the thing ended with him and Bray Wyatt. And we all know the unfortunate events that that happened with Bray Wyatt. Hey, his tragic loss and everything. Hey, man, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. And may the Lord bless his family. But, hey, LA Knight, he has exploded. His stock has risen to a very high level after what happened, after what has happened after the feud with Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt was making him look pretty silly there for a little while, guys. But hey, LA Knight, he rolls off of this, and pretty much I'm kind of shocked that he did. And they held on to him, and the fans seemed like they enjoyed what was going on with LA Knight there for a while, man, when he was going with Bray Wyatt. And like I say, he was already getting popular then. So LA Knight, very popular right now. And right now, the big thing is LA Knight and Roman Reigns. So LA Knight got a match coming up with Roman Reigns, I think, at the next pay-per-view. So we got to look at LA Knight and LA Knight. Let's talk about LA Knight. And say if LA Knight wins this match, you've got a lot of people out here who want LA Knight to win the match. Now let's go back and look at Cody Rhodes. Okay, Cody Rhodes lost at WrestleMania. A lot of fans got upset with that. How many fans are going to get upset if LA Knight loses this match to Roman Reigns? Now, in my opinion, straight up, man, I think he's going to lose the match against Roman Reigns. I don't think Roman Reigns is going to lose that title. I think it's still set up for Cody. Now, can they have change of plans? Can the WWE have change of plans? Yes. And are they looking at the excitement and the way that LA Knight is grabbing the attention of the fans? Are they going to take that in consideration and putting a title on LA Knight? I hope that's not the case. I hope they go by, skill, talent level. And then of course, you got to look at the fan base too that he is generating. But man, my thing with LA Knight is not that he's not ready to be a champion. Yes, he can be a world champion, and he possibly can carry this title. And I think he'll be a good representative as a world champion. But when it boils down to it, I don't think he'll be a long-term champion if they put the heavyweight title on him. And I'm going to go ahead and say some reasons for that. And my first thing is he a better wrestler? Is he a better wrestler overall than Roman Reigns? And when you look at that, you got to look at every single thing that you say, okay, is he a better wrestler than Roman Reigns? Hey, is he more popular than Roman Reigns? What's up, Anthony Manzano? Anthony Manzano is in the house. What's up, man? And then you have to look at it this. You say, okay, is he more popular than Roman Reigns? And I know a lot of people out here might say, yes, he's more popular than Roman Reigns. But the bottom line is this, if you ask me. The reason he's more popular than Roman Reigns right now is because he shows up on TV more than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is not as active as LA Knight is right now. That's the only reason why he might have a little popularity edge, because Roman is not, Roman has taken himself out of the equation. He's not on TV as much. So he kind of lost a little luster there. But Roman, anytime he comes out, Roman commands the stage. Roman has a great stage presence, a wrestling presence that I haven't seen in years in wrestling. I mean, a real, true wrestling presence. I mean, of course, John Cena had one. The Rock. If you want to look at the 2000s, anybody up into the 2000s, these guys still had a great wrestling presence. Brock Lesnar. But I'm talking about somebody who had wrestling presence for the last few years and just been as strong like Roman Reigns. I haven't seen that in a long time, guys. And when it boils down to it, if Roman Reigns wanted to do it every week, if he could do it every week, and we know he's had health problems and things like that, which probably has slowed him down. But if he wanted to do it every week, Roman Reigns, man, will have a presence of a Ric Flair, a Dusty Rhodes type presence, even a Hulk Hogan. Those, that type of presence in wrestling. Roddy Piper, he commands that type of attention. LA Knight, yes. Is this thing, we have to look at what LA Knight is this thing temporary, which a lot of people are looking at it as, is this a temporary thing, or can he do this year in and year out? And hey, yeah, he's not a young man. I mean, he's I think he's just turned 40, 41 or something like that. But can he have a nice 2-year run with this? But still, even if he has a 2-year run, if Roman Reigns decides to stay active, even if he loses the title, he changes his mind, goes to Hollywood, things don't pan out the way he wants it to pan out, would LA Knight look like a real champion? All right, Ray Underwood, what's up, man? What's up? LA Knight, does he look stronger? He's got the Universal title, because that Universal title, it appends the world title that Seth Rollins has. It's bigger than that. Okay, it's bigger than Gunther's Universal Championship. So is he a big? He's a big star, but is he a better wrestler? And my thing is this: I think the fans now have gotten to a point. I think fans have turned it around where now they're beginning to look at skill level again. And that's one thing that was lost in wrestling for a while. They kept flip-flopping the belt. The belt was just a hot potato item. And, they were just giving it to a person because, hey, you deserve it. You deserve it. And that's what we've been hearing in wrestling. You deserve it. You deserve it. But really, do they deserve it? Do they deserve it? Back when Ric Flair was a world champion. Hey, we knew Sting was an excellent wrestler. We knew Lex Luger was an excellent wrestler. Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes, great wrestlers, but did they deserve it? Now, a lot of them did deserve it. Okay, they deserved it, but who was the better wrestler when it boils down to it? You cannot fool the real wrestling fan. You want real wrestling fans back watching this sport, watching wrestling, then put the titles on the real guys, people that, the fans, the consumers that wrestling want to grab right now, the old wrestling fan, and not just that, they want to gain new wrestling fans. For anything to survive, you need new fans, you need new consumers. So they are trying to reach the general public. At least I know the WWE is doing that. They're trying to reach the general public, especially when Endeavor coming in and everything, they are looking long range. So they are trying to reach the general public. So if you want to reach the general public, your champion has got to look real. And when people out here outside of wrestling, now we all know kayfabe is dead. But the whole thing about it is this, man, you got to, anybody that carries the title is a walking billboard out here. So you're a walking billboard to the consumers, to the customers, to the fans. You want to gain new fans, then you better put the best man available with that championship. And after they see your roster and they see other guys wrestle, say if they decide to stay for a while, stay for 5-6 weeks or maybe 2 months and watch your roster. Say if they decide to watch Gunther. Say if they decide to watch Seth Rollins. Okay, now LA Knight is your Universal Champion. Say if they decide to watch, let's see, who did I say? Gunther, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. Say if they decide to watch these guys. Say if they decide to watch Sheamus. Say if they decide to watch Drew McIntyre. Okay? Say if they decide to watch these guys. Big guys. LA Knight got some size to him too. Say if they bring Braun Breaker up, who's a great wrestler, a superstar in the making. Okay? Say if they decide to watch these guys. Say if Jey Uso want to decide to just go on a solo run and stay like that. Jey Uso is a great wrestler too. So I'm looking at about 7 guys here that I just named. I can name off some more. They got some great wrestlers over there in the WWE. Is LA Knight better than all these guys? Is he better? Do he have more skill? Is he more talented than these guys? Now I'm talking about top tier guys. Roman Reigns is a top tier wrestler. Seth Rollins, top tier wrestler. Cody Rhodes is a top tier wrestler. And when I'm talking about top tier wrestler, I'm talking about A to A plus wrestlers. That's what I'm talking about here, guys. Greetings, Harry. What's up, Magnum? I'm talking about A plus wrestlers. These guys are on that A list. Sheamus is an A wrestler. Drew McIntyre, A plus wrestler. These guys are top level stars. Top level. I'm talking about not just stars. I'm talking about skill wise. Okay. Is LA Knight on that level, guys? LA Knight, in my opinion, maybe a lot of people might disagree with me, but you guys know that Chris and I, we rate our wrestlers we rate our matches on a 5-star scale. So I do that same thing with wrestlers. I look at those guys that's top tier, A to A plus at 5-star wrestlers. Okay. And then I look at 4-star wrestlers, and that's a B. A 5-star wrestler is an A. A 4-star wrestler is a B. A 3 stars is a C. I look at LA Knight as a 3.5-star wrestler, guys. He's a C plus level wrestler. I'm sorry. That's the way I see him, guys. That's the way I see him. And there's no doubt about it. And there's a lot of people out here see him that way. He's and sometimes he can get up to a B. Depends on who he's wrestling. He can get a 4-star match. But he's not that top tier wrestler. Yeah. And I know you guys out here. Yeah. And look, I like him. I have gotten to the point where I like him and I enjoy watching him, man. And I'm with everybody else too. Yeah. I like that, man. But just because I like it doesn't mean that he should have that title around his waist in today's landscape. I'm all about wrestling being built, man. I'm all about wrestling going to the next level, grabbing that consumer that's not watching the sport. I would like to go out of here and when I go into the mall, like I was in the mall a couple days ago, I would have liked to went through the mall and talk to people about wrestling, man. Just talk to the average everyday normie, just walking around. Because back in the day when I was growing up, hey, you can talk to anybody about wrestling, man. They knew something about it, or they had people in their family or people around them or their boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. Somebody was watching wrestling, guys, and that's what I want. But right now, we got a small niche of fans. We have a small niche of fans, and wrestling is being consumed by so many different organizations. NWA, they starting their new thing, man. They starting that new thing. They coming in and they say, hey, we want to run some territories. Hey, so you got that too. Everybody's coming in and everybody under that umbrella. But we know who's the big dogs, man. WWE, that is the big dogs. That is the big show. And should LA Knight have that title and run around with that title as the big show? Because when you put a title like that on somebody in the WWE, he represents all of wrestling, man, that he is the world champion. He is the absolute best. So is LA Knight the absolute best that we have out here in the business? You have to answer that for yourself. In my opinion, no. And look, and the thing, I'm talking about Magnum TA. Magnum TA. At one time, Magnum TA was being considered to unseat Ric Flair and become the NWA World Champion. Now, I know a lot of our family here. A lot of these guys. I think our biggest fan base is between 25 and 34. Then our second, we got 23% of the people, and 21% of our fan base is 35 to 40. 34 to 45, 46, or whatever that was, or something like that. And then you got my generation next. It was 46 on up to 60. It was like we was like 17% of it, or something like that. But guys, the guys in my generation that knew and that saw Magnum TA back then in old Jim Crockett Promotions, who followed the NWA, know for a fact that Magnum TA was not ready to be the world champion when it boils down to it. Yes, he was very popular, just like LA Knight, and I will say even bigger than LA Knight. Now, on TV, when the studio crowd, you couldn't even hear when Magnum TA came out, Magnum TA was so popular. But in the arenas, if you ever went and saw him live, man, it was incredible. And flipping incredible. He was a very talented wrestler. But was he better than Ric Flair? Was he better than, okay, let's look at the guys who was under him coming up that was trying to get to Ric Flair's title. Was he better than Dusty Rhodes? No. Was he better than let's see. Okay. Was he better than Ted DiBiase? No. Was he better than Greg Valentine at that time? No. Was he better than Ricky Steamboat at that time? No. There was a lot of wrestlers. Was he better than Chief Wahoo McDaniel at that time? I don't think so, even though Wahoo McDaniel was an old guy, man. It was some incredible wrestlers over in the NWA at that time, man, and Jim Crockett Promotions. Sergeant Slaughter, was he better than him? No. Magnum TA was just very, very popular. Was he better than Mr. Wrestling 2? No. He was very popular, just like LA Knight. And if they would have put that title on him, it would have been just like what they did with Ronnie Garvin. Except for Ronnie Garvin was very popular too, but he wasn't as popular as Magnum TA, but he was very popular. But Magnum TA was not on the level of Ric Flair. And way before the accident, he was in a feud with Tully Blanchard. And pretty much he won that feud by winning that no quit match. But those two went back and forth. You never knew who was going to win. But congratulations, he overcame Tully Blanchard. But Nikita Koloff came on the scene, and he had a 4 out of 3 with Nikita Koloff. That was the last thing that he did. And Nikita Koloff won that 4 out of 7. They had a 4 out of 7. Nikita Koloff won 4. He won the last match, 4 out of 3. So Nikita Koloff beat him in a feud, man. Nikita Koloff always was beating Magnum TA. After that, Magnum TA started teaming up with Dusty Rhodes. They was the superpowers and things like that. All that stuff about Flair, it was forgotten about. And then after this accident, he was supposed to have the title. And all the time now, Chris, I know Chris was younger than I was. I was a teenager. I was like 18, 19 years old when this stuff started happening. And, at the end of this, after he had the wreck, I was like 18 or 19. I'm not sure. But I was around that age. Maybe I was I had to be 18 or 19. And Chris always says, Magnum was supposed to get the title. Magnum was supposed to get the title. That's what Ric Flair says. Yes, they had him set it at one time to get the title. But of course, Ric Flair is going to get out here and he's going to tout that. Dusty Rhodes was touting that. A lot of people are going to get out here and say that because Magnum TA, he had that horrible car crash and everything. So they're pretty much going to say what they were setting him up to be and everything. But man, they had bypassed him. They had left that alone. He was not going to win that world title. He lacked mic skills. He didn't have no mic skills, and he was not that talented in the ring. And in my opinion, he was just like what LA Knight is now. LA Knight is Magnum TA of old. And that's not a bad thing. But you know what? I put Magnum TA as a 4-star wrestler. He was a B wrestler, guys. He was very good. He's very exciting, fast, powerful guy. But man, he was not on the level of a Ric Flair. So you could not have took that title off of Ric Flair. Because at that time, people would, they were quite, man, you just could, if you was a world champion, you better been a world champion, even the regional champs. You better been the best. You better been the best in that region. That's all it is to it. But I'm beginning to think now with Triple H, the way Triple H is running his cards, the way Triple H is doing this thing, and Triple H is just, he's not just putting titles on these guys just because the fans want it that way. Because he would have done that thing with Cody Rhodes. Just because the fans want it that way, he's not doing that. And thank goodness he's not doing it. But hey, LA Knight, man, if they give it to LA Knight, look, this way I look at it. If they give it to LA Knight, and if they give it to LA Knight, I wouldn't be so hurt about it. I really wouldn't be hurt about it. Give it to LA Knight and let him have it for 4 months and let him do what it takes and be pumped up for 4 months. Because hey, that can happen. Adrenaline, his adrenaline, this guy wrestling for everything that he dreamed about and all that. I think it will be great. I think it'd be outstanding. It'll be kind of like a Ricky Steamboat run or Ron Simmons run or whatever. And Ricky Steamboat would have had that title a lot longer. Ricky Steamboat would have been the NWA WCW World Champion a lot longer if Ricky Steamboat's wife wouldn't have been involved. His wife was involved. She's coming out to the ring and everything. And the fans, because the fans was way behind him. And was he the best wrestler in the world at that time? In my opinion, yes. He had some incredible matches against Flair. He could have been considered at that time, I say, definitely as the best in the world. That guy was incredible. And he finally got his just due. But his wife wanted to be a star. She wanted to be a star. Ric Flair even talked about it. And I used to be like, why in the world she continues to come out here week after week after week? The fans turned on Ricky Steamboat after that. For a while, they was with it. And then they turned on Ricky Steamboat because of his wife. And because, yeah, she wanted to be the bigger star. And Ricky Steamboat even said that too. She wanted to be a star. And she was going to taking the opportunity that was given to Ricky Steamboat, and she was going to use it for herself. But Ricky Steamboat could have been a long-term champion, man. Anybody could have unseat Flair for the title was him, because he had took titles off of Ric Flair for years. The United States Heavyweight Championship, the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship, the Mid-Atlantic NWA Mid-Atlantic Television Championship, and those belts was prestigious. But he had been beating Ric Flair for years for titles. So he definitely was a believable champion. And the guy had won so many World Tag Team Championships with Jay Youngblood, with Wahoo McDaniel, with Paul Jones. He definitely was a believable champion. So Ricky Steamboat, man, that was an incredible champion who deserved it. Now, as far as LA Knight, and I'm talking about LA Knight, and I'm talking about Magnum TA, I can look at some other guys, who are people think, hey, they deserve a title. And yes, let's look at Lex Luger. Let's look at Lex Luger, guys, who I never saw. When it boils down to it, I look at LA Knight and Lex Luger about on the same wavelength as far as wrestling skill go. Lex Luger, I think he could have been a world champion, is because he definitely didn't have the best skill in the NWA. In WCW, never had the best skill. But his strength, his size, his athletic ability will propel him to that. So he was believable as a champion, even though he didn't sell as a champion. Sting definitely was believable as a champion. People wanted him to be a champion. But when Sting had the title, Sting could not bring in the fans like Ric Flair. Ric Flair sold out against Lex Luger. Ric Flair sold out against Sting. And I know a lot of people, a lot of wrestlers down the road, and a lot of it could be, I believe most of it is jealousy. Ric Flair had the same match over and over and over and over. Man, you have the same match. All these wrestlers who were saying that had the same match over and over and over again. The thing about Ric Flair is his moves and everything that he did was just so defined and so classic. Everybody, you can just look at it and the timing of it, that anytime you watch Ric Flair, you're going to watch his moves. Everybody used to watch his moves and watch what he did. He was so precise. Same thing with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali boxing, the way Muhammad Ali boxed, it was the same weight all the time. The Ali shuffle, the rope-a-dope, the things that he did, same thing. And when it boils down to it, a lot of it was born. I grew up watching Ali. A lot of it was born, but Ali got the job done, and he mesmerized people. Same thing with Ric Flair. He mesmerized people, man. And he did that stuff for I'm just going to talk about when he was basically on top. He did that for 25 years and pretty much was in that world championship, that United States World Championship and that United States Heavyweight Championship reign for 20 years that he had those titles. Guy was flipping incredible. But LA Knight, look, man, I wish the best for LA Knight. I really do. And if he gets the world championship, hey, I definitely can deal with that. But there's a way to do it. And there's a way to do it without without the credibility of him being the world champion, taken away from him. Because look, I'm still looking at this LA Knight this year and all the stuff that he's doing and going out there. Everybody say LA Knight. I look at that whole thing is, hey, this right here is it's a flash in the pan when it boils down to it. How long can that go on? Will people be doing that in 4 years, guys? Will people be doing that in 3 years? I don't know about all that. I do not know about all that. Will he cool off, or will this thing be long lasting? So I'm worried about that. And I'm just like, wow, dude, wow. But there's some great wrestlers over in the WWE. And as far as him becoming a champion, becoming a United States champion, I think he should be the United States champion right now. He should be wrestling for that title. Rey Mysterio, maybe, not put those two together, both fan favorites. Maybe Rey Mysterio lose that title. LA Knight wins that title and holds that title for a good while. At least a good 7-8 month run. I say an 8-month run. And then after that, maybe basically go up and try to wrestle for not the United States championship, not the Universal Championship, but the Intercontinental Championship. Go for that. And then maybe later on, hey, get his shots at the World Heavyweight Championship. It's nothing wrong with being a second tier wrestler that's considered one of the best in the world. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, Roddy Piper never won a world championship. Definitely deserving of it. Let's see. Who else? Ted DiBiase never won a world heavyweight championship. Definitely deserving of it. Hey, so many great superstar wrestlers. But, man, LA Knight, wow. LA Knight, I just don't know. And I know there's been some jokes who won the world heavyweight championship, especially in the last 2 decades. But I mean, even before that, you had Tommy Rich, you had the NWA championship for a week. And look, I know that back then that didn't look good, but hey, Tommy Rich fought his tail off of that title. He ended up getting it, and he was hot at that time. Hotter than what LA Knight is now. And I know LA Knight, he's hot because he looks like he's doing it because he's in huge arenas. But Tommy Wildfire Rich, man, in the Omni in Atlanta and out in Memphis and everything, Tommy Wildfire Rich had 10,000, 12,000 people going crazy for him. They would tear the building down for him. You couldn't hear nothing. So it was just, and it wasn't no music coming. It wasn't no music that brought him out or anything. It was just pure, just walking out, just natural, just doing what he does. And guys, like I say, I can't see anything if you guys are saying, if you guys are saying something, because I do not have my tablet. And right here, let me refresh this, guys. Stay tuned. I'm still here. Stay tuned. Let me refresh. All right. Okay, I refreshed. I don't see anything. So, guys, let me see if anybody making any more comments. All right, no more comments, guys. I mean, I don't have no comments, so that's good. I didn't want to be just sitting here rambling and everything, and people coming in, and I'm ignoring the comments. I appreciate you guys coming on, checking me out, and you guys let me just sit here rant and talk. Hey, that's been cool too. Because, hey, guys, like I said, had a lot to say, but I definitely wanted to get in here and talk about LA Knight. I wanted to talk about Magnum TA, and there, like I said, there's a correlation between those two. Both very, very popular. Both of these guys was in a position to become world champions. Magnum TA back in the time when kayfabe was still alive, and you had the Nature Boy Ric Flair holding that title. Very capable champion, very believable champion. Same thing like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has that title today in the WWE. Even though Roman Reigns, I do have something against Roman Reigns not defending that title. He's not out there defending that title the way he should defend that title. But you're talking about a capable world champion. That guy is very capable. You're going to believe him. You put him on a billboard. People are going to say, hey, that's a wrestler. You say he's the world champion. People are going to believe that right off the bat. I'm talking about people that don't watch wrestling. They're going to be like, yes, that's the world champion. And then if you go and watch this world champion, you are going to be impressed with him. He is an outstanding world champion, man. But, LA Knight, very impressive guy, and somebody who I believe could pull the fans that wrestling don't have, could pull the fans that wrestling actually wants, wrestling needs the general public. They need the general public. And you talk about somebody who can pull those fans in, is definitely somebody like LA Knight. But guys, I tell you what, man, I am going to get out of here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming on, rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling Show, man. Hey, it has been great. But right now, man, I'm at the 30-minute mark, but I'm basically going to get off and I'm going to see how everything went in this football game. See if Chris's boys won, see if the Philadelphia Eagles won this football game. But guys, I am definitely out of here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, guys. You stay straight up. See you later. Peace.